Hello and welcome to another episode of Feeding Fatty. This is Roy.
I'm Terry.
So we are the podcast journaling chronicling my journey to wellness. And, as I've aged, wellness has become a much bigger importance because I want to age well, don't want to outlive my wellness. And so what we do is we bring you some episodes based on some things that we're trying. And then we also bring guests, professionals in different fields to the show to talk to us about different things that we can do to help ourselves. And so, Terry, I'm going to let you introduce our guest today, Dee Woolridge.
Yes, as a result of her speaking, coaching, and writing, Dee has helped thousands of people stop the cycle of self-sabotage and realize their significance. They speak up, stand up, and show up as the leader in their own lives. They move beyond stuck to live and work within their genius. Dee Woolridge, a specialist in effective communication, success mindset, and resilience, is a best-selling author and writer of numerous self-help books. She's the founder of 2 training and development companies, one that helps young adults on the autism spectrum. Dee is a 30-year U.S. Navy veteran covering 3 wars. She led at the executive officer level and was a military consultant in Hollywood. She's the 9th of 13 siblings, a breast cancer survivor, and parent of a daughter with autism. Hoorah! Hi, Dee. Welcome to the show. I just wanted to say that. My dad was Air Force.
Hi,
we didn't
Terry,
get to
and
say
hi,
that.
Roy. That's right. The Air Force doesn't really have a call.
No.
And that call really belongs to the Marine Corps, the URA, and we just kind of borrowed it from them because we carry them around.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what some movie they said, the little rivalry between the Marines and the Navy, and said like, hey, y'all are just our transportation to get there.
And we are.
Oh, great. Well, thanks so much for taking time to be with us. One thing that we talk about a lot in this journey is mindset, because, the reality is I could go, I'm overweight enough. I think I could probably go qualify for surgery or have other things done. But my hesitation for that has always been that if I don't change my mindset, I will never change my body. And because I know people who have, done the different things and had failure because they just continue to eat or drink, consume calories in some manner that just exceeded, what they were expending. And I know it's not always just about calories in, calories out, but, we kind of have to have some kind of an equilibrium there. So it's a pleasure. Thanks for taking time to be with us and help us, with this part of that journey.
For sure. I know it's important to you, Roy, and it's important to me also. And it's important for that I live what I teach so that I can teach it well.
Right. Yeah.
So mindset is everything, and even with our wellness.
So what are some things that what are some challenges that you see that your clients have in trying to get the mindset right, and some things that you've done to help them?
Well, I think there's 2 parts to, if we're talking weight in particular, one reason is triggers, what our triggers are, and then we have this unconscious feed into the trigger. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is the unconscious protection of our body, of our self. So, for example, if we are feeding ourselves because we are lacking pleasure, because eating is pleasurable.
Yes.
And if we're lacking pleasure in our lives in some place, then we're always going to seek it out. We're going to figure out how to make ourselves feel good. So that's why people eat in excess or drink in excess, because it makes them feel good, because they're filling a hole that's not being filled somewhere else.
Okay.
That pleasure center. So other people do it with drugs. They do it with sex. There's different kinds of ways to fill that pleasure. And so that's one thing.
Okay.
And the other thing is we have an unconscious way of protecting ourselves, and we'll do it like even from stress. So if you, and I know this about me. So if I'm working on something and I get to a place where it's particularly hard, I'll get up and then I'll go right to the pantry.
Oh my gosh, I had an
Yeah.
And
episode
the
like that just the other day, so I'm right there
yeah,
with you.
and what I'm doing is trying to get back to that, trying to get rid of that uncomfortable feeling that's in my body.
Yeah,
So, we when we're hungry, um, our body sends a signal to our mind we're hungry. So there's a discomfort that's going on. And so we associate that discomfort with feeding ourselves, feeding
yeah,
ourselves. So we use it in every other thing that we do. Okay, if we're in a state of discomfort with, with work, we don't like that feeling. How do I get rid of that feeling? Oh, I'm used to eating.
yeah.
And what eating does is slow down the digestive system, or gives the body something else to do and concentrate on. So we're not concentrating on that hard thing, that stressful thing.
Interesting.
Okay.
No,
That
and it's
makes
funny. I
sense.
mean, I was kind of joking, but it just the other day, it wasn't necessarily like a oh my gosh moment of hard or stress. It was just, I kind of bumped up something I was thinking about, and I thought, I got up out of my chair, turned around to head to the kitchen, thinking, I'll get me a little something to eat. But that's interesting how you explain that about it, kind of that unconscious thing, because it is. In the past, what I noticed, you run in there and get something to eat, and you eat it, and then you think, oh gosh, I shouldn't have done that, And I think the other thing that you talk about too is that feeling of hunger. One thing, and I verbalize this to Terry so I can talk it out, but it's separating the feeling of a little hunger twinge from the feeling of death. And it's like, okay, that was just a little hunger thing. That doesn't mean it doesn't mean that if you don't eat, you may die in the next 5 minutes. So there's no urgency to
Right.
run in there, because a lot now we've been really working hard on the last week to get back on track, and so I feel that little hunger, and I go get a glass of water or something else, and it
Well, if
passes.
you're hungry, you should eat, because our body is doing exactly what it's supposed to
Yeah.
do, what it was built to do, to tell us when to eat, that we're hungry. But the other times, we have to ask ourselves, what are we really hungry for?
Right.
Am I seeking safety, satisfaction, pleasure,
Yeah.
uh, to get rid of that discomfort?
Yeah.
So, what are you really hungry for? So that's the thing. Or am I thirsty?
Yeah. Well, and I
So
say,
asking that question, and what am I really hungry for?
yeah.
And am I bored? Do I need excitement here?
See, and that's me. And let me rephrase what I say when I say hunger. I mean maybe a little
Mm-hmm.
twinge in my stomach, not like full blown stomach ground. But that's the
Yeah.
thing is, in the past, it's that very first trigger. Like it's just kind of that little empty feeling. It's like to go fill that
Mm-hmm.
hole. But then the other thing, like
Mm-hmm.
you said too, is the excitement. And one of the funniest things when I first realized that is, Terry was out running around. She called me one day and said, "I'm heading back home. Are you about ready for lunch?" And I said, "Yeah, I am." I said, "I'm getting kind of hungry." And so then in my mind, I'm getting all excited because I'm thinking, "Oh, she's going to go by Chick-fil-A and she's going to get us a chicken sandwich and some french." And then she said, "Okay, well, we've got some leftover salmon and asparagus in the refrigerator." And I just deflated. And
I heard it over the phone. I could see it.
and luckily I kind of had some self-realization there, but I'm like, wow, I was putting way too much emphasis on this takeout lunch to make, excite me or make me happy or be something different from the day. It's strange.
Because that's the pleasure in it.
Yeah.
Eating is pleasurable.
Yeah.
Food is delicious.
Yeah.
That's why they put you can make food delicious.
Right.
So there's a difference between feeding hunger and satiating the hunger. So you can eat and then you just go, that just wasn't good. Like you're full, but you're not satisfied.
Right.
Right.
And that makes you eat more, because you're trying to satisfy whatever pleasure it is that you're looking for.
Yeah.
So making healthy, delicious food is the best deal.
Well,
That's the
and
best.
it's no fault of Terry's, but just for me
I
dressing up.
wasn't really dangling a carrot. I
No,
didn't.
no,
I
no. I didn't mean that. I meant making healthy, delicious food. It's just, it's hard for me to seize on some vegetables or something, something that is healthy. And goodness knows she tries very hard to jazz stuff up and hide it in this and turn it around and make it that. But sometimes I can just always tell it's a vegetable. It wasn't a bowl of ice cream.
There's no trick in him. Can't do it. Well, how do we find out which pleasure we're trying to go after? I mean, how do we find that out?
You ask yourself. And so that's part of the mindset thing um, is first is being mindful. Are you guys familiar with, with being mindful is just being in the moment,
Right.
not in the past, not in the future,
Right.
just in the
Present.
moment
Yes.
and observing what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then you can do that with your body, with a body scan, just from head to toe. What do I feel in my head, in my throat, in my chest, and my stomach?
Okay.
And you can, when you're mindful, you know your body. When you're used to doing that body scan, if you do that every day, you know your body. Then you know when you're hungry. You know when it's boredom, or you're seeking pleasure or happiness, or something else
Yeah.
besides food, because you're so in tune with your body.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So just starting there with being mindful.
the other thing Terry has kind of pushed me into doing a little more is the mindfulness actually when we eat to help. It seems to help me slow down and not eat as much because if I'm sitting here at my desk eating, or if I'm up walking around, or watching the TV or whatever, sometimes it's like you're not really paying attention. It's just a
Just shoveling
process.
in.
Yeah, you're just shoveling it, and then you find out, you passed being not hungry about 5 minutes ago, but yet you're still here eating.
Yeah. It's like that's why I used to love Doritos. I mean, like Doritos were great, but I couldn't eat a little bag. I had to have the family size bag. And then I would just eat mindlessly,
Right.
just eating them. Well, I stopped doing that and just getting a small bag because I wanted to savor them.
Mm-hmm.
So I was mindful about how long it was taking me to eat one chip
Right.
because I wanted to make it last. So I could eat that one bag, that one small bag, at the same time, the same rate I could eat a big bag, but I'm eating less
Yeah.
because the other one is just crunching through them and I'm not paying attention
Yeah.
to what I'm putting into my body
Yeah.
until I started keeping a log.
That
I
log.
just did it for 3 days and I was just disgusted. I was like, okay, 3 days,
Oh my gosh.
I'm good. I see this. And these are easy things to break because one of the things that about mindset is self-love. It's loving yourself. You can drive past Wendy's and say, that's not loving me. That's not loving me. So I started doing that years ago when I had breast cancer and I went straight raw vegan. So, Roy, you're saying, the vegetables, that's all I had was vegetables. I didn't even have fruit because it had too much sugar. And the vegetables were mostly raw. You couldn't cook them past 130 degrees.
Oh wow.
So, and I did that for 3 years.
3 years.
And 3 years, yeah. But I did that instead of chemotherapy.
Okay.
So what I was doing was feeding my body, was improving my health instead of tearing it down with a chemotherapy drug, which kills everything.
Right.
What I was doing was building my immune system up and making my body more alkaline. And you do that with
Raw vegetables.
raw organic vegetables.
Interesting.
And I lost weight because of that, not because I was trying to, it was because I was eating clean.
Interesting.
Now, I'm not a raw vegan now, but that lifestyle, it was all about self-love and helping myself
All right.
feel better. Like I felt like I was tearing my body down because I didn't love me enough. I would put everything before me and then just throw some stuff in my face, feed my face, whatever, and go help somebody else. I was good at helping other people, but not
Yeah.
me. And that showed in my weight, it showed in my skin, it showed in my hair, it showed in my quality of sleep because I wasn't caring for myself. And then it manifested into cancer after
Yeah.
that. And there's some other mindset things going on with that too, was relationship with my mother and um, other things that I was trying to disguise or mask with food.
Hmm.
And cancer was the, okay, you can do this or you can die, so um, I changed my whole life with changing the way I ate and how I thought about food.
Wow.
Food was medicine instead of pleasure eating
Yeah.
Doritos, and then just like driving past those places, I would say if I craved it, when I would say to myself, that's not loving me, that's tearing me down, would I let anybody tear me down? No. So
Int-
I would drive past it. And then I stopped even seeing the Chick-fil-A's.
yeah.
I stopped even seeing the McDonald's and the Wendy's and the places I used to go because my husband said, there's a Popeye's chicken over there. And I go, really? He goes, I was like, I've been driving past here for 3 years. I haven't seen it. It's like, yeah, because it wasn't even in my conscious
Yeah.
awareness.
Yeah.
I would be looking for the Whole Foods, the Sprouts,
Yeah.
those kind of places where I can get the healthy food for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does.
It was the way I was thinking. My on my radar, that's what it was. On my radar were the best places that would serve my body
Yeah.
and keep me well.
It's again back to the interesting concept about the pleasures. But I guess I'm that way as well. When you drive down the road, it's that you you see that as, ooh, that's pleasurable or adventuresome, and it's, we're trying to go with this mindset of we eat food to live. And I'd like, if you want to tell us more, I'd be glad to. I would be interested in hearing your story about the cancer and eating clean, because we have been trying. We're not totally uh, vegetable or plant based, but we're trying to move that
We're
way. And
heading toward it. Yeah.
yeah, we've been this week, and we're getting rid of some things, but we're trying to move plant based for a lot of things. We've heard the digestive system works 80% of the time, burns 80% of the time trying to digest food. And so the other thing we've tried to do is do a little intermittent fasting as well. And I tell you what, I can tell the inflammation in my an old arm injury is way down, because it had gotten so bad, the last 4 or 5 weeks, that I couldn't even, move it across the front of my body without it hurting. But inflammation's down, the sleep
Yeah.
is better. Just like this morning, I had made up my mind. I'm sleeping in till, whenever I wake up, and, about 5:30, 6 o'clock, bam, I was up without an alarm, and, feeling energetic, not just an old drowsy wake up.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, if you want to, if you don't mind, you can expand on that. I'm interested to hear about that.
Sure. First of all, I'm not a dietitian or a nutritionist. This is just my journey.
Right.
Yes, yes.
Um, so I was looking for alternative ways to treat cancer, because I was always, even though I was a vegetarian slash vegan, I was a junk food vegetarian vegan, which means I had Doritos as one of the food groups. It's corn.
Yeah, right.
It's made from corn,
Exactly.
and processed cheese that's not even real and things like that. Um, so even though I didn't eat meat, I still ate poorly,
Yeah.
which contributed to my bad health. And when I was diagnosed with cancer, I had to make some decisions like everybody else does. Like, what kind of treatment are you going to have? Are you going to have surgeries? Are you going to do all of these things? So I was looking for alternative ways to treat it. And I found this health institute called Hippocrates. And I drove down and went to their day of orientation. We tasted the food. They showed us the grounds, because you can live on site. It's like going away. So I went away for 6 weeks, and they have a medical staff on premises. They have your diagnosis, and they um, design a plan for you. But mostly, and you can, for people that are interested in this, you don't have to be sick to do this. You actually want to do this before you're sick.
Right.
Right.
You know, and there's lots of videos. If you just go to YouTube and look up Hippocrates, and they have many videos on why the food that we just go to the store is damaged, basically.
Yeah.
And we all know about GMOs and all of those kinds of things. So try to eating vegetables is not just one thing, but eating organic that don't have pesticides. Even we even got down to like the type of underwear that I wore. Was it cotton or was it all synthetic and polyester, because it doesn't breathe. Your skin needs to breathe.
Yeah.
So I feel things when I go to the store, and I'm just like, this is just plastic. I'm not, I'm not going to be able to breathe. My skin's not going to be able to get what it needs from that. The mattress that I bought, I got rid of the old mattress, and now the mattress that I have is a Stearns and Foster, that's just cotton and wool. It doesn't have any of the synthetic stuff on it, because everything else has chemicals and things in it. So I was like strict on all of those things. So as far as the food is concerned, it's juicing, um, and then it was raw veggies, lots of sprouts, everything that is in its first stages of growth. So sprouted foods, sprouted grain if you're
Okay.
eating bread. So
I, ju- I,
those kinds of things that are healthier for you.
I just
Mhm.
asked Terry
Yeah.
yesterday. We bought something and it said sprouted, and I asked her, what does that mean? So thanks for.
Like some sprouted lentils and
Yeah.
or
So that
sprouted
just means that
quinoa.
it's
Yeah.
younger in the
Yeah.
growing cycle.
That's when it's the most nutritious,
Okay. Okay.
because it is like you can even get vinegar that has the mother. That means that it's giving life. So you want to get food that's in the giving life stage,
Okay.
because if you go to the store and you get broccoli and it's limp, there's no life force in it. It can't give you anything.
Okay.
So you want to get veggies and fruit as close to off the vine or out of the ground as you can get them,
Okay.
because that's when it's going to be most life-giving.
Okay.
So if they're frozen, if you're eating frozen vegetable, if they're frozen at their ripest, or um, if you can sprout your own mung beans, and I did that for a while. I grew my own wheatgrass. I would because during the 3 years, I did wheatgrass twice a week. I mean, I'm sorry, twice a day.
Oh wow. Okay.
Just squeezing the wheatgrass.
Yeah.
Yeah, you take a bunch of wheatgrass, you take this much of wheatgrass, and you get this much juice from it.
Right. Oh my gosh.
But that juice, the wheatgrass juice, and you can look that up. And this is
Yeah.
something that you might want to look into, Roy, because it's going to cleanse your body.
Okay.
Like all the waste that your body is holding on to, that's what makes you sick, and that's what makes you stay fat.
Okay. I'll check that out.
Is wheatgrass and sunflower seeds, sprouts. There's those that you put on your salad. It's gonna make your salad. Don't put wheatgrass on your salad, but sprouts, put them on your salad.
Okay.
Wheatgrass, the body can't break down. It's too fibrous. So you'll want to juice that.
Okay.
But
Okay.
sprouts, like broccoli sprouts, they have flavor. So if you're having a sandwich like zucchini, man, I'm telling you, you guys come to my house, I can make you something good. And it'll be delicious
Okay.
because it has to be, because otherwise you're going to want to go eat somewhere else.
Yeah.
But if you do, a simple wrap, like you take a Ezekiel bread wrap, because it's sprouted, and then you spread hummus on it, and then you put a layer of sprouts, and then zucchini,
Okay.
and then you can put some shredded carrots, and put peppers, things like all of these things that have flavor, and then sprinkle some. I go to Zoe's and get their. Do you guys have Zoe's there? It's
Yes.
like a Mediterranean
Yes.
restaurant,
Yes.
and I buy their seasoning,
Okay.
because it's already mixed. It's all, instead of me going to my cabinet and getting all this stuff. I love theirs, so I put it on everything, and then just some salt and pepper, and then you roll that up, and you have this fresh. It's
Yeah.
just so
Sounds
good.
sounds
I'm
great.
hungry
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can just put things in there. And then they make it's. I think the food industry is catching on now. They're making more plant-based foods.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that, if you shop, but you just have to know where to shop to get them.
Yeah.
To get the things that taste
Yeah.
delicious.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your story. If you want to
That's
finish
okay.
telling us about your journey, I thought it was interesting that we were just talking
Oh,
about
okay.
the sprouts last
Yeah.
night, because I was like, I don't even know
No,
what that
sprouts are
means.
good. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it's good.
yeah,
It's good. So basically, that's the story. Is just, I went to the health institute instead of going to chemotherapy, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I was like, you don't know what you're going to do. Everybody's coming to you. Hey, do this, read this book, drink that, take this shot, go to that place.
yeah,
I mean,
Right.
everybody was an expert in cancer. Everybody is, my cousin had cancer and she did this,
yeah.
so everybody's telling you all of these things, and you don't know which one to do. Everybody's journey is different. So I did go to the oncologist and sign up to have chemo, and had an appointment to get my port put in. And I remember sitting there thinking to myself, I cannot do this. I cannot do this. But I went because that was an option.
Right.
And on the day I was supposed to start my to get my port put in, I found myself on the road driving to Hippocrates.
Wow.
I don't even know where I got the money to go to Hippocrates, because it wasn't $12. It was pretty expensive.
Right.
But I showed up, and the first part of it was just a detox. Like that first week, I was just detoxing. My head was hurting all the time. I was, and I had 3 roommates. And all of us were crabby. If you ever
Oh.
had a headache and somebody's trying to talk to you,
Yeah.
or you hear
Right.
somebody else talking on the phone, like everything was bothering me.
Oh my gosh.
So, but then everybody was going through this detox, and then we just we're building the body up, and it wasn't just food. There were also different treatments. A sauna. I still do sauna. I have a personal sauna. I do a sauna 3 times a week. It
Ah.
helps with detoxify your
Yeah.
body. If you have cellulite, that's toxins in the body.
Okay. Yeah, I've
So,
heard that there was a guy that he actually developed a it's like a sauna routine, because, well, number one, it's I've always heard it just sweats the poisons out of your body, but he had developed this routine where you go in for so long and then you come out, cold shower, hydrate,
yep,
and go back in. But it was a whole process
yep.
that he developed.
We had all of that there.
Okay.
It's a cold plunge.
Okay.
So you come out of the sauna, and then you go into the cold plunge, and then you go into it's a saltwater pool. So, and
Okay.
they had all of those things there for us. So coming out of a hot sauna, going into a cold plunge pool, it's like needles on your skin. It wasn't something
No.
I would do, because you're supposed to just plunge into the pool.
Oh, yikes. Yeah.
So I would just step in and then let the needles, and I get down in it for a little bit, and then I go to the saltwater pool. Um, so we did that. Draining the lymphatic system, getting the lymphatic system going, because that's also how you are releasing toxins from the body. So just jumping on a trampoline. So in the morning, we get up and jump on a trampoline, or you can go to the the little personal trampolines, or go to the gym, and there was this thing that we stood on, and it was shake.
Yeah.
It was shake. So all of those things are releasing the toxins, plus colonics. I know this sounds extreme, but look, I had cancer.
Yeah.
Right.
Um, Colonics, and um, we were doing. I, go to the website and
Yeah.
see all the stuff that we were doing, because it may sound extreme to people, and I don't want to scare people. Eating was just part of it.
Yeah.
How we
Right.
were treating our body, this vessel that carries our soul, is the important thing, and
Right.
loving ourselves.
Well, and how is your health now? You that was 3 years ago, you said?
That was 2013.
Okay. Oh,
Oh.
that was a long.
Okay.
Okay.
That was 2013. No, I said I was raw vegan for three
Yeah, yeah,
years.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
So
sorry.
I call myself a flex vegetarian now, because I eat meat sometimes.
Yeah.
And I eat meat when I crave it.
Yeah.
If I'm craving it, that means that it's something from the meat that my body needs. But most of the time, like I said, I'll make a wrap, or I will have you know, some kind of. I like this brand. It's a frozen brand. It's called Rabbit. I think it's called Rabbit Food. But it's like, they're bowls, and they have quinoa and veggies and all kinds of really good stuff in those.
Okay.
Okay.
So, and I eat pizza because I love it.
Yeah. Well,
But I'm just making sure I know that when I'm eating it, I'm just like, I know when I'm eating.
yeah.
But most of the time is, I try to eat clean,
Yeah, and that's the
because
way
I
I
feel
think
good
our
that way.
approach is that, it's not if we wanted meat or fish or whatever, it's definitely okay to go have it. It's just if we're not craving it, trying to stay off of it, just to,
Hmm.
like you said, our body is a vessel, and we need we need to take care of it. And because what we see is so many people, you get once you get into older, become older, then all of a sudden, you start having things happen because of the way you lived when
Oh,
you're younger, and then you can't recover from that. And so,
yeah.
my hope is to be in a little bit better place. But anyway, I think the body as a vessel, because it has the eating, but then we have to think about our sleep, our mindset. We need to have that
Yeah.
positive outlook, gratitude, and you can, I'd be glad for you to speak to that portion of it as well.
Yeah.
Mindset is everything. I mean, my s- I do this thing with my clients where I help them with their life categories.
Okay.
So life categories are things like work, home, education, leisure time, um, how you're spending your life. And I have them choose the categories and then rank them. So I show them an example of mine, and spirituality is ranked number one in mine. And my spirituality doesn't mean church, because I haven't been to church in I don't know how long, because I that's not how I do spirituality. My spirituality is all encompassing. It is my personal connection to what I call source. And how I commune with source is through meditation. I believe that prayer is talking to source or talking to God, and meditation is listening for the answer.
Okay.
So that is when
Interesting.
I'm quiet. I may go to source with a request or a need or even gratitude. And then it's my turn to listen for the answer. And in that quiet is when I get the things that I need. I used to go, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. And spending 30 years in the military, that wasn't an acceptable answer. I don't know. So I just stripped it from my vocabulary. I rarely said, I don't know. It was, I will go find out. Let me check on that.
Yeah.
That's what I substituted I don't know with. So saying it, I don't know, it was like a failure to me. So I had to get over that.
Yeah.
I had to get over saying that there was something wrong with me not knowing.
Yeah.
And then going into meditation, saying, I don't know what to do. Help me. I don't know what's next. I don't know the answer. And just being still and quiet. And then I would hear it, or I would dream it, or I'd be in the shower and I would just be downloaded with all of this information.
Yeah.
When you
The
can't write it
shower is
down.
where I got a lot of my inspiration.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. Let me hurry up and get out of here so I
Yeah.
can go and do it.
Yeah.
But it was always the answer to what I was needing, but I had to be in that space to listen to it. And I did that all through my cancer journey. That's when I was the closest to God, is through that journey, because that's when I just surrendered and said, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is. You know, I'm just surrendered into this, and I'm just going to go where I'm led to go. So that is my mindset with this, is there is a spiritual answer to every problem. And that comes from Dr. Wayne Dyer. Wayne Dyer, Dwayne Dyer. Wayne Dyer. Wayne Dyer.
Mhm.
So he says and he actually wrote a book called There's a Spiritual Answer to Every Problem. And that's what I believe. So my mindset is, how do I get help for whatever this problem is that I can't solve by what I already know?
Yeah.
Then I go outside of me for that resource, not to my husband or my Uncle Jimmy, who Uncle Jimmy is like, he's the vegan max, man. I'm telling you, he's anything you want to know about veganism, my uncle knows it. We had a whole conversation yesterday. He was telling me something else to eat. But anyways, so in this spiritual practice stems everything else that I do in life. It's my coaching, it's the work with my clients, it's the speaking, it's the workshop, it's the books that I wrote. They all come from that stillness, that moment, those moments when I've just been quiet.
Yeah.
So I'm divinely directed on everything that I do. So that gives me this positive feeling that feeds into everything. And all the stuff that used to bring me down, that I used to care about, I don't anymore. The things, that I used to care about, what other people thought about me or my family and how things looked. You talk about optics, especially about being a naval officer.
Oh my
Everything
gosh.
was how things looked,
Right.
how you presented yourself. And I used to tell my husband before we went places, okay, we're going in with my people.
Yeah.
Don't talk about your toenails.
That's
Oh my gosh,
hilarious.
that's good.
Okay, so my husband's a Marine. And so we had these two sets of friends, and he was enlisted Marine and I was a naval officer. So two different sets of types of people.
Right.
So I felt most comfortable with my husband's set of people, but my work was these people from the Naval Academy, and Admiral this and Captain this and General that, so, and I was a public affairs officer. So I did a lot of work with the higher echelon in the Navy. So when we went to these affairs, I would tell my husband, okay, We're not with the grunts. We're going to have to do this because this is how it looks.
Yeah.
And this is my community. The community is small and everybody talks. If I want to get promoted, then you need to be polished when we go to these
Right.
things.
Yeah.
So my husband goes, I'm staying home.
Oh man, I don't blame him for that at all.
And it's interesting
So
that.
yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, babe.
No,
Go ahead, Roy.
no. I was just gonna say it's interesting because I have another business show, and I just had a conversation with a guy, and we were covering these kind of the same things, like the recruiting. You know, we were talking about the knowledge on paper versus I want somebody that is self-reliant enough or
Confident.
I guess mindfulness of themselves or in their moment that it's like they don't have to have every answer. You have to know when to go seek the answer and or how to go seek the answer, not necessarily having all the answers. And then the other thing about the facade is, you know, a lot of businesses, you know, there's a great book, and I wish I could, she's an upcoming guest on the business show, but she talks about that most businesses have a facade. You know, you look at it and you think, oh, it's well run, this is this, but once you pull the curtain back, there's total disorganization and everything
Right.
behind that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just think it's a parallel to our personal life. I mean, we've got to get our personal life squared
Yes.
away and what's important to us. And I like that spiritual side because I'm the same way. My connection right now, you know, is going for a walk. I can take a 15-minute walk and it's like I'm cleansed, fresh ideas coming in. And but you know, when you're sitting here on the computer or right in the midst of, it's hard to gain that clarity sometimes.
Yep. Until you get up and walk away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And release the mind. You're releasing this the subconscious mind.
Yeah.
When the subconscious mind is engaged, it's in charge basically,
Right.
because it's feeding you all the things that you believe.
Yeah.
And then when you get up and go for a walk, you disengage from that subconscious mind and you're conscious. That's why mindfulness is so important.
Yeah.
You're not on autopilot anymore.
Yeah.
Which is the subconscious. This is how we do this. This is our regular routine. This is what we believe in and how we do it.
Yeah.
When you're conscious, you can change it.
Okay.
And
So,
I'm sorry. I was gonna ask. So how much time do we spend subconsciously thinking versus consciously thinking, like throughout the day or week or
Your subconscious mind is 24/7.
24/7? That's
24/7.
That's what I thought you were
It
gonna
is
say.
always on. 24/7. So like when you go to sleep, you're not conscious. You're not dead, but your conscious mind
Right,
isn't
right.
engaged, but your subconscious mind is.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, so it's always going on. It's a tape that's playing in the background, even
Okay.
now.
So how does hypnosis tie into this? Because I guess it kind of reaches out to what's in the unconscious mind to pull that forward. Is that a correct way to explain that?
Well, so I'm going to use my hands for this.
Okay, yeah.
There's these four pieces on that decides our behavior.
Okay.
So, or 5 pieces. There's events that go on in our lives from 0 to 10 years old, when we're babies to about 10 years old, when information is just coming in. And then it just gets stored in the subconscious mind like file cabinets. And some of that information changes if we can disprove it, like Santa Claus. Hopefully no children are listening
I was
now.
gonna say,
What are you
know,
talking
when
about?
yeah,
when
well,
we're children. Oh, sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. There's no Santa.
Oh.
Really. Okay. Santa, Easter Bunny, Tooth Fairy, all those things that we are taught or shown when we're children, we're excited about them when we're kids, and then something comes along for us to disprove those things, so they're not stored anymore. They're stored as a memory, but then we still have the truth with them.
Okay.
But then there's other things like, for example, if you believe in God, if you believe in God, then that is your rock solid belief, and it's there, unless something comes along to disprove it, it is your belief,
Right.
right?
Right.
So we have trillions of these beliefs because we've been conditioned with them as kids. As Miguel Ruiz says, he's the author of the Four Agreements. He says we've been domesticated to believe these things. Like, this color is blue, that's red, this is yellow. We've agreed that these are the things, our beliefs. So, and then along with those benign beliefs, like the colors, we have events that happen in our life. Say, for example, you burned yourself on a stove. And so now the belief is fire is hot, fire is dangerous, it's an event. And you remember it because it was a traumatic event or something profound that happens. So that is the event that causes the belief. Events or repetition and conditioning causes the belief. Why is that important? Because our beliefs make us feel. The beliefs make us emotional. And that emotion is what drives the behavior.
Okay.
So, for example, if when it comes to our health, if as children we were conditioned that sugar is bad, sugar is bad, sugar is bad, we were never given sugar. So our belief is sugar is bad. The feeling is when you get something that has a lot of sugar in it, you'll just go, you're feeling, oh my goodness, this is just so bad for me. It's your feeling. So you're really poignant about whatever that is, or sugar's dangerous. So you have fear around it. So what you do is when somebody serves you ice cream is you push it away. That's the behavior. So and the opposite is if someone always, if you did something great and you were rewarded with cake,
Yeah.
your belief is,
Yep.
when I do something great, this is a reward to have something sweet.
Yep.
And that makes you feel good about yourself.
Banana split at Dairy Queen. Exactly. Exactly.
So you're getting the pleasure from that. Eating things is pleasurable and it makes me feel like a winner.
Yeah.
It is my reward.
Interesting.
So the behavior is, I aced this thing at work. Now I'm going to Dairy Queen. That's the behavior.
Right.
So the subconscious mind, all these beliefs drives the behavior in everything that we do. It's all coming from the belief. So if you want to change a behavior, you need to figure out what the belief is that's driving that feeling. So many times when we talked earlier about we're feeding something that is not hunger, we could be feeding an emptiness, an empty feeling that that you associated with pleasure. I need pleasure. I feel empty right now. So how do I get that pleasure? I remember that eating gives me pleasure because it makes me feel like I'm rewarded.
Right.
So I want that reward feeling right now.
Interesting.
So I'm going to go do that.
Wow.
So all of that little stuff is all tied together. And when you recognize that, you can change it. You can change that belief. Like, eating doesn't have to be associated with a reward. What else can you do? What can you replace it? It's good to have that. It's good to have the feeling of being rewarded, or the feeling of pleasure, or feeling of happiness. But what can we replace the eating to still get that feeling of happiness? Well, and so you can change that belief.
Okay.
You can change that belief, the belief to, I'm amazing anyways. The belief is, I don't have to be, I don't have to be amazing with the banana split.
Right.
I'm amazing with a sticker
Yeah.
or whatever that is.
But
So just if you change the belief, you can change the behavior.
yeah, and that's as you talk that through, I think maybe, when you're down or not feeling good, that's another reason I guess you seek out that banana split, is because it's that trigger of the memory of, oh, that was a happy time or that was a good time. So if I have me some ice cream, I'm going to feel that
better,
way
yeah.
again.
Yep.
Interesting.
What are
Okay.
you really happy for?
Right.
I mean, what are you really hungry for? You're hungry for an attaboy.
Yeah.
You're hungry for acceptance. You're hungry for acknowledgement.
Right. Wow. That's pretty
That's
insightful.
deep.
Yes. That's good.
That is, yeah.
Yeah, and then it gets back to being mindful of taking the time to know what that feeling is and why, and then you can kind of sort this out of
Identify.
why we're doing that. Yeah.
And Roy, you asked about hypnosis, on how hypnosis works with that, or was it
Yeah.
you, Terry? So knowing this process, these things, hypnosis, what I do is I regress people back to the initializing event, to that first event where they stored or created that belief.
Okay.
So if it's something traumatic, right now we're talking about pleasurable
Right.
things, like, but even then we would go back to that event where you were given the ice cream. Every time you did something, you're given ice cream. So we would go back to that first event. You were 3 years old and you peed in the potty. And then you get something every time you pee in the potty. So you would say that in hypnosis, I peed in the potty. Then I would talk to you and I would say things right at that time. And I would just go, give yourself a high five. What do you want to do? I want to go get ice cream. And we would make some corrections right there. And I would just say, Roy, instead of ice cream, because adult Roy finds this as a problem. What do you want to do, 3-year-old Roy, to change that? Instead of, what do you really want? What you really want is approval from your parents.
Yeah.
So they can put on potty music for you. That's what I used to do for my daughter. We used to play the music. It was some song that says potty potty. We would dance
Potty party.
because she was being conditioned to dance after
Okay.
doing potty. So we could change that there in hypnosis. And the reason why it works so well in hypnosis is because it's an extreme form of focus and relaxation. And there's no interference from this thing called the critical factor. The critical factor is the thing that analyzes and discerns everything.
Okay.
It's part of the conscious mind.
Interesting.
So that is not activated when we're in hypnosis. So it's nothing blocking you from taking in this new information and making it your new belief. That's why hypnosis is so effective.
Right. Okay. No, that's cool. I've never really thought about it that way, but it makes sense. And goodness, my problems are multiplied times 3 because I had like both my one set of grandparents, they had the Dairy Queen up by them. So it was always, that was the celebration. I had another grandpa that they had a local drugstore. That was, going to the soda fountain and getting a banana split. And then my dad, he had a place out by his office. So it's like, my world seems, now that I'm thinking about it, my world revolved around ice cream. No wonder I love ice cream so much.
He does.
Yeah. Was that a reward? Were those rewards for something you did well?
Rewards are just
or a
like
treat on a Sunday?
Yeah, that, or just like whenever I was a little kid and go to work with Dad, it might be like 3:00. Well, let's go take a break, so we go down there. Or, at my grandparents, maybe mowing the yard or doing some chores. It's like, hey, you got that done? Let's go. So I think it was a combination of a way to take a break and socialization, but also, definitely that reward. And growing up the way I did, it was like, you had a bad day. Well, let's go get something to eat. That'll take, or, my grandma, she cooked cakes and stuff like, well, here's a piece of cake. Or, the other, you celebrate, did something good. Yay, let's go. Oh, you don't feel good. Oh, you need to eat. You're feeling great. Let's go eat. It seemed like everything was, everything was an eat trigger.
And that's how most families are.
Right.
It's centered around food.
Yeah.
Everything is.
And then that socialization part too, because, the pandemic has kind of been a little different for us, but, we miss going out with like our daughters and kids and going out and, meeting somewhere and just the socialization or going with friends. But, there's other things that we can do. And that's kind of one thing we've talked about in the past a little bit was that reconditioning of you can socialize without having to, eat things that aren't the healthiest for you. You can have a glass of water or a lettuce wrap, or there's ways to make adjustments, I guess, is the thing.
Lettuce wrap.
I
Yeah,
love a lettuce wrap.
I'm growing
That
to
sounds, now I
yeah.
want one. Yum.
Sounds good. Anything sounds good right now.
Well, I know we are way long, Dee, and I appreciate your time. Is there anything else that you want to enlighten us with before we wrap this up?
Well, I do want to talk about self-esteem in
Yes,
all of this.
certainly.
Self-esteem and how you feel about your self-esteem is how you feel about yourself, and
Okay.
it's everything
Okay.
because you will treat yourself like your best friend if you love yourself.
Okay.
And for your listeners that might need some help in that, I have a free workshop. It's self-esteem. It's a self-esteem workshop. It's it's not even it's not a workshop. It's a 5-day challenge
Okay.
on raising your self-esteem.
Okay.
So how do you get there? I have to send you the link
Yeah. No. No. That's fine.
because the link is pretty long.
Okay. Yeah, we will post
Yeah.
all of your
Yeah.
stuff in the show notes as well. But yeah, self-esteem. Let's. Can you just expand on that just a little bit because you know it's a thing we feel bad about ourselves, and I think I talk about this in the business end a lot. Is we are most of the time we're the hardest on ourselves. If I have 10 things on my to-do list today and I get 7 done, I'm like, I missed 3.
Just think about
What's
the
wrong?
3.
I should have, I could have
Yeah.
done this. I could have done
No
better.
banana split for you.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of,
Just half one.
flipping that script and saying, holy smoke, I got 7 done, 70%.
Yeah.
If I could hit 70% in the major leagues, I'd be a gazillionaire. So, I mean, there's
Right.
something to that. And that positive stuff that we run in our mind, we've talked about that again, but we get to choose whether we run negative or whether we run positive. And so, just like me, I don't think about it a lot, but you think, ugh, out of shape and not looking the way I want to, or I can think of, I'm making efforts to get where I want to be. I can take that positive spin on it. So I'm sure, I'm sure that's all interrelated, correct?
It is. It's all of it. Loving every part of you, even the parts that aren't as attractive to yourself as you like.
Yeah.
But it's where you are right now. And many of us think, I can't love myself until I
Yeah.
fill in the blank, whatever that is. Self-esteem is loving yourself right now as is. Right now as is. That's why people sell houses and cars, and they can sell things as is because somebody still wants them.
Right. Yeah.
So why should we discard ourselves as is?
Yeah. No, you're right. And the journey,
yeah.
we need to enjoy the journey because I think the other part is we have this hollow goal that, whenever I get skinnier, whenever I get the new car, the new house, we have those things. That's going to make me happy. Well, when you get there, it's like, okay, not
What now?
really. Yeah,
Wherever you
Yeah.
are, there, wherever you go, there you are.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Wherever you
think
go,
that's,
there you are. So if you're not happy at the big size, you're not going to be happy at the small size either. You just might like the reflection in the mirror, but you still, that self-love is everything.
right. And it's, again, this affects so many things about ourself, not only our weight, the way we interact with our loved ones in our work life. I mean, it just ripples through every part of our life.
It does.
Yep. So
And if you want a mindset, if you want to work on your mindset, I have a mindset membership called Mind Shift Membership, and it gives you daily things to chew on.
okay.
It gives you meditations, visualizations, there's hypnosis, there's daily inspiration, motivation, information, there's free courses. And you can get there from msm.dwoolridge.com.
Okay.
So if you're looking for mindset, if you don't know how to change your mindset and you don't really want to do a challenge or a course, this is an everyday thing. It's 365 days.
Oh, wow.
You get information. It comes straight to your email.
Well,
And
good.
right now, yeah. So just
Yeah,
go there and get
we'll
the
check that
information.
out, and we'll
Yeah,
like I
that's
say, we'll
awesome.
be sure and put the links in the show notes
for
as
sure.
well. Well, thank you so much for taking time to be with us. It's been a lot of great information, and I know me and Terry have benefited, and hopefully we'll have some audience members that will as well. But yeah, I mean, be happy, love yourself, take care of yourself, and wherever your journey's going, enjoy it as you
Yeah.
go.
And if you don't know how to do it, get a hold of Dee.
Yeah, one more quick thing, not to be too morbid, but there's just been a lot going on lately about we never know when we're going to take our last breath, and I think that's even more of a reason to be thankful and have that gratitude, is that you just never know when you or your loved one may be taken away. And so you just kind of put a little more emphasis on that, just being able to tell somebody, hey, I love you, you're awesome to me, as Terry is. And yeah, we just, I think we need to, I don't think people say that enough. And then there's just been some, some people that have passed this last week at very young ages that it just makes you think that, we're always living on borrowed time. So make the best of it.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's all I can say to that
amen.
as I second that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks a lot. Tell people how can they reach out and get a hold of you for more information?
DeeWoolridge.com is my website, and all of the stuff that I was talking about is on that website. If you want to know more about hypnosis, you can go to sanantoniohypnosis.com, and that's my website for if you want it, want a session or you want a consultation. sanantoniohypnosis.com. For everything else, DeeWoolridge.com.
Okay, and that's D spelled out DEE.
DEE.
Yeah, Woolridge.com. Okay, great. We'll put, like I said, we'll include all that, but just somebody's driving down the road and wants to pull over and look you up, we will make sure they get to the right website.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right.
Fantastic.
Yep. Well, thanks so much again. Appreciate it. Again, you can find us at, of course, www.feedingfatty.com. We're on all the major social media platforms, as well as all the major podcast platforms, iTunes, Stitcher, Google, Spotify. If we're not on one that you listen to, please reach out. So that's going to do it for me.
Dee, thanks so much. We appreciate it. You really shed a lot of light. You explained it in ways that we hadn't had it explained before.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
It was my pleasure to
great.
be here.
Okay, that
Thanks for
does it
having
for me. Sorry, you were wrapping up.
No, you're right. You're right. All right.